What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. Hey, I've got a watch here that I'm borrowing, thanks to all the dudes on the watch tour, Watches Galore, Marshall's Time, TimeToGo Travel, OFD Channel. It's by Achtung. I don't know that I'm pronouncing that right. We've got a little like neoprene badge on there, but it comes just like this in what looks like a long felt case in a bright orange. Let's just take a look at this. And that case is probably a little bit of a preview of the kind of watch that's in here. Something really bold and brash. And boom, look at that. All right, so what do we have here? An Achtung service card. We have an Achtung little velvet pouch, I suppose, if you want to carry it around. A microfiber cloth. Achtung. And then the watch itself here. And what we have is something called, I believe that they call their classic Speedo. So it is, while they call it the classic Speedo, I don't know that the look is very classic. It's a little bit off the reservation. And pretty cool though. Man, kind of crazy. Yeah, this thing has all sorts of kind of crazy shapes. So many times I can whip out a watch, we can quick go through the specs, be done with it, and move on. But this probably deserves at least a little bit of recognition. Now, I have not looked at this yet. Obviously, like I said, it's new to me, brand new to me. I'm unboxing it for the first time, although a number of guys have checked it out so far. So first of all, let's just start at the kind of the mundane stuff. We have a buckle here. It's kind of a very thick buckle, and the Achtung logo on it. Looks like it's ion plated black. I believe the whole thing is an ion plating. It's not just a painted black. So we've got that. You have kind of a, what I would call a 1970s Porsche seat type of pattern here. You've got kind of that typical racing style seat. Obviously the whole thing is automotive flavored. We have painted red edges with red stitching, cross stitching on the edges too. You know, if I were to look at this seat, it looks like kind of a Mustang Cobra, old Porsche, old Camaro, kind of muscle car era. You can see what you want to see here. We have the same thing on this end here, and you know, a really tapered genuine leather strap. We also have a quick release spring bar right there. I'm gonna just tell you right off the bat, this watch kind of screams BR01 or BR whatever from Bell and Ross, kind of their flight instrument line. I mean, this is, to me, it's kind of a very similar blocky shape with a round dial, very tapered band. And so if you are one of those guys that said, wow, I want one of those Bell and Ross, you know, aviator gauge type watches, man, this might be a good proxy for it. Give you something very similar. It is big, 48 millimeters, I believe, is the case size here, and that's probably that base plate, which just looks a little bit bigger than this kind of middle cylinder here. And a perfectly square 48 millimeters is going to look bigger than a 48 millimeter round case, so it's going to have a lot of presence. We even have some of the screws here, which don't go to anything. They're totally decorative. And then it looks like kind of that cylinder housing the movement and everything is screwed down with 6 little screws onto this base plate. Now, I will also say, since we're here, it says limited edition 08 of 10, and that's because they only make 10 of each kind of model of watches. Now, this is the classic Speedo, and they make it in a variety of different color combos, which would be reflected right here, but they only make 10 of each of those, so it's also not something that you'll see a lot of. And you know, it's not only kind of interesting and unique looking right off the bat, but you'll also have something that no one else will have. Even if you run into guys who know Achtungs, they won't necessarily have the same one you do. Now, if we kind of continue on the back side here, we have a movement, an auto movement. This is a Seiko movement, I believe, a Seiko NH35A is what I believe it says right there. So a very tried and true movement. Achtung on the rotor, 24 joules, and you can see it, and it appears to be running just fine. Water resistant to 50 meters. Now, let's get to some of the business side of it. First of all, like I said, it's really kind of a cylinder. It's like a pipe fitting almost. This iron plated case here, it's black, it's very polished and shiny, and it's quite tall. I think it's over 14 millimeters tall. And then we have a black crown there. The crown is pretty standard looking, but it's the dial that kind of goes crazy, and I kind of love it as a car dude. I definitely love a lot of those car designs. You can see here we have a really tremendously three-dimensional dial. An outer ring that kind of starts high, it's angled, drops down. We have this inner ring here with car dashboard warning lights. Just kind of an interesting element. Most of the time when you see these, you don't want to see them because they're lit up out of air. Then you have kind of the sunk center portion with very much like a speedometer or tachometer type of design on there as well. We also have some, the hands are kind of interesting. You know, kind of these banjo wire type of hands, blue and red, lots of color going on all over. A very slender second hand with a, I'm not sure, it's like a 4-pointed star on it, but I'm not sure what that has to do with cars, if anything. Achtung logo there. Everything is silk screened on except for these hour indices. Those look like they are applied, and I would say that super luminova on the hands and the hour markings will show that too, but super luminova tends to work really well, and as far as I've been able to see on these, they glow really, really well, especially with kind of these big wide tips on the hands themselves. You do have a sapphire crystal here, which is apparently AR coated, and so that's kind of nice automatic movement, proven automatic movement, and a sapphire crystal and stainless steel construction all around. You do have lots of color going on in this one, and you might say, hey, you know, all this color is not necessarily for me. I would say the Citizen Ultracrons also have a lot of color, especially the new ones. It's kind of cool. Like I said, you've got all these automotive light markings. You have kind of left and right turn signals. But if you don't like this particular style, especially maybe the white dial kind of against the black, don't sweat. Don't sweat. Let me back out here a second. I have an Achtung kind of product guide, and let's just open it up, and we have everything from the classic camo, classic Speedo, which is what we have in the racing special edition, and look at all of the different things that you can get, all the different case colors, dial colors. This is the classics on top, classic camo. So you can see the dials there have a camo pattern on them. Classic Speedo. This is the one I'm looking at right now, but as you can see, you can get it in kind of the unplated, non-plated finish, down to like a brass and gold. And then the racing special edition, it's pretty cool. We get some checkered flags and maybe even like a textured dial down on that one. I'm not sure which one would be my favorite. They're all fairly similar. I'm assuming they all use the same case, and really the dials are different, but they are kind of really cool looking. And I do like stuff that's, like I said, off the reservation, and this definitely qualifies. And like I said, you know, for a watch that would kind of have some similar traits, this is going to be much cheaper. Even though it's not an inexpensive watch, I believe it's $670. You know, the Bell & Ross Aviator watches are $5,000, right? So you can call it 85% cheaper if you wanted. So pretty cool. I dig it. Check it out. We'll put a link to it in the description. But Achtungs, hopefully we'll have some more of them eventually to take a look at. Peter from Panda, out.